The sun was setting behind the tall towers of Celestis Corporation's headquarters. The building was a giant of glass and steel, shining bright even as the city around it began to dim. Inside, the air buzzed with energy. Today was a big day. The company was about to make a deal that could change the future of human colonies on many planets. In the top floor boardroom, a long table sat surrounded by the most powerful people in the company. At the head of the table was Morrow, the CEO of Celestis Corp. Morrow was a man in his early 40s with sharp eyes and a calm voice. He had worked for years to make this company one of the strongest in the galaxy. Today, he was ready to sign a deal worth 5 billion credits with an alien group called the Zarnath Consortium. The deal was simple on paper. The Zarnath would provide clean energy technology to human colonies, helping them grow and thrive. In return, Celestis would share profits from new mining operations on several moons. The media was watching closely. The board was confident this was a win-win agreement. The room was quiet except for the soft tapping of fingers on keyboards and the shuffle of papers. Morrow stood and spoke clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, this deal will secure energy supplies for humanity's future. I'm ready to sign. He held up a stylus, ready to mark the contract. Just then, the door to the boardroom opened suddenly. A woman stepped inside quickly, her face serious. She wore a simple uniform, not the usual business suit, and her hands showed signs of hard work. Her name was Nala. Nala worked as a janitor for Celestis. She was a single mother, taking care of her young son on her own. She usually cleaned the floors and the hallways. But today she had seen something that made her heart race and her feet move faster than usual. "Wait," Nala said loudly, her voice cutting through the quiet room. Everyone turned to look at her. The executives raised their eyebrows in surprise. A janitor. What could she want? "Don't sign the deal," Nala said, stepping closer to the table. Her eyes were firm, full of worry. "It's a trap." Morrow looked at her carefully. "What do you mean?" he asked, calm but curious. The board members exchanged confused looks. How could someone like Nala know anything about this complex agreement? Nala took a deep breath. "I was cleaning the server rooms late last night. I heard strange noises in the network signals that weren't supposed to be there. I followed them and found hidden files in the alien data streams. The deal isn't what it seems." There was silence. The room was filled with tension. One of the board members, a man named Kren, sneered, "You're a janitor, not a scientist. How do you understand alien technology?" Nala held her ground. "I don't understand all the technology, but I know enough to see that these files have secret conditions. If we sign, the aliens will control our colonies without us knowing. Our people could lose their freedom." The room was still. Then Morrow said, "Show me these files. We will investigate. For now, let's pause the signing." Nala nodded and was led out of the room to get the data. While she was gone, the board whispered nervously. Some thought she was a troublemaker, others worried she might be right. Meanwhile, Nala's mind raced. She had not planned to interrupt such an important meeting, but she couldn't let her people be tricked. Her son's future depended on it. Back in the server room, she sat with Vian, Merrow's trusted aide. Vian was a young man with a sharp mind and an open heart. He listened carefully as Nala showed him the strange files. These codes hide clauses about control and surveillance. Vian said after studying them, "If we sign, the aliens could take over communication networks, military systems, even life support on some colonies." Nala felt a chill. "That's why I had to stop the deal." Vian nodded. "We need to tell the board as soon as possible. They have to know the truth." Together, Nala and Vian prepared a report. They added clear explanations so everyone could understand the danger. The next day, the board meeting resumed. Nala sat quietly in the corner, watching as Morrow presented the findings. The board members listened, some nodding, others frowning. "This is serious," Morrow said. "We cannot risk losing control of our colonies. We need to rethink this agreement." Nala's heart lifted. Maybe her voice had been heard after all. After the meeting, Morrow called Nala into his office. "You saved us today," he said sincerely. Your courage reminds us that every person in this company matters, not just the powerful, but everyone. Nala smiled softly. I just want a better future for my son and for everyone. Morrow nodded, and we will fight to protect that future, together, outside. The city lights blinked on, and stars began to twinkle above. In a universe full of unknown dangers, one woman's brave step had changed the course of many lives. The sun had barely risen when the boardroom at Celestis Corporation buzzed with quiet tension. The $5 billion deal with the Zarnath Consortium had been delayed, all because of a janitor's warning. The executives sat around the table, their faces showing a mix of disbelief, worry, and curiosity. Morrow, the CEO, looked calm but serious. He knew this was more than just a business issue now. It was about the future of human colonies and their freedom. The board was restless. Some members were ready to move forward, trusting the alien partners. Others wanted more proof of the danger. Nala sat quietly near the back of the room. She was used to working unseen, cleaning floors and hallways, but today all eyes were on her. Her simple clothes and tired eyes didn't fit the image of someone who could shake the world. Still, her words had caused a pause that could not be ignored. Vian, Merrow's trusted aide, stood and spoke up. We have reviewed the encrypted files Nala found. The hidden clauses are real. The Zarnath deal gives them access to control several key systems in our colonies. A murmur ran through the room. Some executives whispered. Others leaned forward in concern. Kren, the board member who had doubted Nala before, raised his voice. This sounds like a conspiracy theory. Are we sure the files weren't tampered with? Nala is not trained to handle alien technology. We should trust the experts. Morrow held up a hand to quiet the room. Kren, I understand your point, but these files were decrypted by our top engineers. Vian and I have personally reviewed them. This is real. Nala spoke softly, but with steady courage. I don't know much about alien tech, but I saw what the files said. They could let the Zarnath control our communication, our defenses, even life support systems in some colonies. If we sign, we risk losing control. The room went silent again. Nala's voice was simple, but the message was clear. The future of humanity's space colonies was at stake. Morrow nodded. We need to be careful. This deal could bring great benefits, but it also carries risks we cannot ignore. He turned to Vian. Prepare a full report with evidence and explanations. We need to show this to the Galactic Trade Council. They will have to approve any interstellar agreements like this. Vian bowed his head. Yes, sir. I will start immediately. The board members began to discuss the situation in low voices. Some worried about alien retaliation if the deal was delayed or canceled. Others saw the warning as proof of the need for caution. Meanwhile, Nala's thoughts returned to her son, Kai. She worked hard to give him a good life, but the universe was a dangerous place. She had no special training, no power in the company, just determination and love. Her phone buzzed quietly. It was a message from Kai's school. He had done well on a test today. A small smile lifted her tired face. For him, she would keep fighting. Later, Morrow asked Nala to join him in his office. The large room looked out over the city, filled with soft light from the early morning sun. Nala, Morrow said kindly, I want to thank you again. You showed courage that many lack. But now, the real challenge begins. Nala nodded. I'm ready. What do you need from me? We need your help to communicate with the workers and communities across the colonies. You know their lives. You know their struggles. We need their voices to stand against this hidden threat. Nala felt a surge of pride and responsibility. I will do whatever I can. Morrow smiled. Good. Together, we can protect our future. Back in the server room, Vian worked with the engineers to gather more proof. The hidden files were complex, layered with alien codes designed to confuse. It was like peeling an onion. Each layer revealed more secrets. Vian thought about Nala's simple words. Sometimes the truth was hidden in plain sight, seen only by those who dared to look. Days passed, and the news of the halted deal spread across the colonies. Some people cheered, relieved to hear the warning. Others worried about what this meant for the fragile peace between humans and aliens. In a busy colony on Luna Prime, workers gathered around terminals to watch a broadcast. Morrow spoke clearly. "We have discovered hidden dangers in the proposed deal. We will not sign until we can guarantee the safety and freedom of our people." The crowd applauded. Among them, Nala's friends smiled and shared stories of her bravery. But not everyone was pleased. The Zarnath Consortium sent a message through official channels: "Delay the deal at your own risk. Economic sanctions will follow." Morrow knew. The stakes had risen. The next few days would be critical. That evening, Nala returned home. Kai was waiting for her with a bright smile and a drawing he had made of their small family. She hugged him tightly. "Mom, are you a hero?" he asked. Nala laughed softly. "I'm just a mom who cares. But maybe that's enough." As night fell, the stars twinkled over the city. Far away, in the shadows of space, the Zarnath watched and waited. And on Earth, a single mother stood ready to face whatever came next. The Celestis Corporation building hummed softly with the constant flow of activity. In the days since the warning from Nala, the atmosphere inside had shifted. The tension was no longer hidden behind polite smiles or quiet whispers. Now, the board and staff knew the deal with the Zarnath Consortium was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Morrow sat at his desk, surrounded by screens showing streams of data. He watched as Vian and a team of engineers worked tirelessly, decoding more encrypted files sent by the Zarnath. Each line of code was a small piece of a puzzle that seemed darker. The deeper they looked, Nala stood quietly in the corner of the room, her arms crossed, watching the team. Though she was not a tech expert, she understood the importance of what was happening. She had trusted her instincts when she first saw the strange signals. Now, those signals were proving her right. Vian turned to Morrow. "We found something more. The alien clauses are not just about control. They include secret surveillance systems embedded in every colony's infrastructure. Cameras, sensors, even automated defense systems would be linked to the Zarnath Central Command." Morrow's brow furrowed. "So, they could watch us, even stop us from resisting?" "Yes," Vian replied. "And worse, the contract allows them to send security forces into human colonies at their discretion. No approval needed from our leaders." Nala's voice broke the heavy silence. "That means they could take our homes without us even knowing." Morrow looked at her. "Exactly. It's a quiet takeover." The engineers continued to work, unlocking more hidden parts of the files. Then, a new message arrived from the Zarnath, a formal reminder of the deadline and a subtle threat of consequences if the deal was delayed. Morrow shook his head. "They want to pressure us, but we cannot rush into this." He called an emergency meeting of the board. The room filled quickly, the atmosphere thick with unease. Some members had already changed their minds, realizing the risk. Others still argued that the benefits were too great to ignore. Kren spoke again, his voice sharper this time. "We cannot let fear control our decisions. The Zarnath have the technology we need. We must trust their word." Morrow raised his hand. "Trust is earned, not given. These files show their true intentions. We cannot ignore what we've found." Nala sat quietly, feeling the weight of every word. She knew some board members still doubted her because of her job and background. But now, the proof was clear. Suddenly, the doors opened and an alien representative entered. His name was Toruk. He was tall and slender, with blue-gray skin and bright silver eyes. His presence made many in the room tense. Toruk spoke in perfect galactic common, his voice calm but firm. "Celestis Corporation, we urge you to reconsider. The deal is fair and benefits all. Delays harm the future of human colonies." Morrow replied steadily, "We appreciate your offer, Toruk, but trust must be built on honesty. These hidden clauses threaten our people's freedom." Toruk's silver eyes narrowed. "Freedom is a human concept. We offer stability and growth. Refusal will lead to consequences." The boardroom fell into silence. The threat was clear. Morrow looked around the room. "We must prepare for every possibility. I want our security teams on high alert." Nala felt a chill. run down her spine. The situation was more serious than she thought after the meeting. Morrow called Nala and Vian to his office. We need to take this further. I want you both to work with the colony's leaders. If the Zarnath try to enforce this deal, we must. Be ready. Vian nodded. We will gather allies and build defenses. Nala agreed. I will talk to the workers. They have strength and they want to protect their homes. The next days were busy. Nala traveled to different colonies, sharing the truth about the deal. She spoke to miners, engineers, families, anyone who would listen. Her story, simple but powerful, spread quickly. At one colony on Mars, she met a group of miners who were shocked to hear about the Zarnath's secret plans. We thought this deal meant jobs and safety. One said, now, it feels like a chain. Nala smiled gently. That's why we have to stand together. The future belongs to us, not to those who try to control us from far away. Back on Lunar Prime, Vian worked with colony officials to strengthen communication systems. They designed secure networks that the Zarnath could not hack. Morrow coordinated with Celestis security forces, preparing for possible confrontations. The company was no longer just a business, it was becoming a protector of human freedom. One night, as Nala rested in her small apartment, her communicator beeped. It was a message from Morrow. Prepare for a meeting tomorrow with the Galactic Trade Council. We have to present our findings and warn others. Nala took a deep breath. The path ahead was difficult, but she felt ready. Outside, the stars shone brightly. In the vastness of space, humans were no longer alone, but their strength was in their unity and courage, and Nala, a single mother and janitor, had become a symbol of hope for many. The Galactic Trade Council building was an enormous structure of shining metal and glass, floating in orbit around the peaceful planet Vesta. Representatives from dozens of species gathered here to discuss laws, trade agreements, and disputes between worlds. Today, the eyes of many were on the human delegation from Celestis Corporation. Inside the council chambers, Morrow, Nala, and Vian prepared to present their findings. They were nervous but determined. The stakes were high if the council ignored the hidden dangers in the Zarnath deal. The consequences could reach far beyond human space. Morrow adjusted his suit and spoke quietly to Nala. Your story will help them understand. Speak from the heart. Nala nodded. I will. When the session began, Morrow presented the technical evidence first. He showed the hidden surveillance codes, the secret clauses giving the Zarnath control over human colonies, and the threat of unapproved military actions. The council members listened carefully, their faces serious. Next, Nala stood and spoke simply but powerfully. I am a mother, a worker, a janitor. I'm not a leader or a scientist, but I saw the truth when no one else did. The deal is not safe for our people. It hides a quiet takeover, a loss of freedom. We cannot let that happen. Her words echoed through the hall. Some council members nodded in understanding. Others whispered among themselves. After the presentation, a vote was called to delay the approval of the deal until further investigation. The motion passed, giving Celestis and the council time to study the issue. But even as the vote was announced, a new discovery added urgency to the situation. Vian and Morrow had uncovered a secret location on a distant moon, hidden beneath thick ice and rock, a vault containing hundreds of humans in deep cryogenic sleep. This sleeper vault was unknown to most of Celestis, even too many in the government. The vault's AI system, an ancient machine left behind by the first human colonizers, controlled the facility. It had been designed to protect these humans through unknown dangers. When Nala and Vian arrived at the vault, the silence was heavy. The air was cold and still. Rows of sleeping chambers lined the walls, each holding a person in frozen sleep, waiting for a future that had never come. Nala walked slowly down the corridor, feeling a strange mix of hope and sadness. Who are they? She whispered. Vian explained. These were colonists sent long ago, before the current governments and companies. They were placed here to survive a threat no one understood. The AI has kept them safe all this time. Suddenly, the vault system activated a holographic message. A woman's face appeared, calm and clear. If you have found this message, it means the danger we feared has returned. The Zarnath Consortium's plans are worse than you know. They seek to control not only the colonies but the very people who build them. The message continued, these humans in sleep are the last hope. They hold knowledge and skills lost to time, but they cannot awaken until the threat is gone. Nala looked at the silent faces in the chambers. They're waiting for a chance, for a safe future. Vian nodded. Our fight is not just for the living but for those who sleep. As they left the vault, Nala's mind raced. The hidden sleeper colony was a secret weapon against the Zarnath's plans, but only if humanity could survive long enough to awaken them. Back at Celestis headquarters, the news of the sleeper vault spread quickly. Many were amazed and hopeful. The human spirit, it seemed, was stronger than ever. But the Zarnath were watching. Their message was clear. The longer this fight lasted, the harder it would be for humans to keep their freedom. Nala sat by the window in her small apartment, thinking about the sleepers. She touched her son's face gently. We must be strong, she said softly. For them, and for you. Morrow called a meeting with his closest advisors. We have allies now, and a future to protect. But the road ahead is dangerous. The Zarnath will not give up easily, Vian added. We must prepare every colony for defense, and keep the sleeper vault a secret. If the Zarnath find it, everything is lost. The team began to organize training, secure communications, and build a network of resistance. Nala took her place not just as a janitor or mother, but as a leader of hope. Her courage had sparked a movement that could save humanity's future. As stars twinkled far above, the galaxy held its breath. A quiet war had begun, a war for freedom, survival, and the chance to awaken the sleepers when the time was right. The calm that had settled over human colonies was fragile. The Galactic Trade Council's decision to delay the Zarnath deal had given Celestis Corporation and its allies some time to prepare. But in the dark reaches of space, a new threat was moving closer, a predator that had haunted human history long before the colonies began. Morrow stood on the observation deck of Celestis headquarters, staring out at the stars. His face was tense, the weight of responsibility clear in his eyes. Beside him, Vian checked the latest sensor reports. There's something coming, Vian said quietly. Not just the Zarnath, but a force we haven't seen in centuries. It's heading toward the colonies. Morrow nodded. The old warnings were true. The predator is real. Nala joined them, her expression steady despite the news. What do we know about it? Vian explained. It's a massive creature, part machine, part living organism. It feeds on advanced civilizations, draining their energy and resources. It was the reason many early colonies failed. Morrow's jaw tightened, and now it's coming back. The news spread quickly. Colonies went on alert. Defense systems were activated. People prepared for the worst. Nala found herself at the center of a growing resistance. She spoke to workers, families, and leaders, urging calm and courage. We've faced dangers before, she told them, and we will face this one together. Meanwhile, Celestis scientists worked on weapons and shields that could slow the predator, but they knew they could not defeat it alone. One night, as Nala returned to her apartment, her communicator beeped urgently. It was a message from Morrow. Meet me at the command center. We need a plan. At the command center, the team gathered around a large holographic display showing the predator's path. It's getting closer, Morrow said. If it reaches the colonies, the damage will be devastating. Vian pointed to the data. We may have a chance. The predator is vulnerable when it moves through gravitational fields. If we can lure it into one, we might trap it. Nala's eyes brightened. Can we use the orbital fields around the mining moons? Morrow smiled. That's the plan. But it will be risky. The next days were a race against time. Celestis forces worked to set up a trap using the gravitational fields as bait. Nala led a small team to coordinate with colony defenders, sharing her message of hope. On the day of the operation, tension was high. The predator's enormous shadow appeared on sensors, growing larger as it approached the moons. Nala watched. As ships and weapons moved into position, the gravity traps were ready. As the predator entered the field, it slowed, caught in the invisible web. The team prepared to activate the final phase. Suddenly, the predator roared a sound that shook the stars. It fought fiercely, trying to break free. Nala's heart pounded. Hold steady. She urged over the comms. The trap worked. The gravitational fields collapsed around the predator, trapping it in a crushing force. With a final burst of energy, the predator was defeated. Its power drained. Cheers erupted across the colonies. The threat was gone, at least for now. Back on Celeste's headquarters, Morrow shook Nala's hand. Your courage helped save us all. Nala smiled softly. We save each other. As peace returned, thoughts turned to the future. The sleepers, waiting in their vault, the colonies rebuilding, in the promise of a new dawn. The stars shone brightly again, a reminder that even in darkness, hope can shine the brightest. The victory over the predator brought relief, but the battle was far from over. The Zarnath Consortium still pushed their agenda, eager to claim control over the human colonies. The threat lingered like a shadow over every colony, every city, every family. In the heart of Celestis Corporation's command center, Morrow and his team gathered around a holographic map of the galaxy. The glowing dots marked the colonies, connected by fragile communication lines. Vian pointed to a blinking red light near the edge of their territory. The Zarnath are moving their fleets closer. They're preparing to enforce the deal by force if necessary. Morrow sighed. We must act before they can strike. Nala, standing near the table, spoke up. We have one advantage: our creativity. The Zarnath rely on strength and technology, but humans have something they don't: imagination and surprise. Morrow looked at her. What do you have in mind? Nala smiled softly. We can trick them. Over the next days, Nala worked closely with engineers and strategists together. They developed a plan to use the decaying orbital fields of mining moons as a weapon. These fields, unstable but powerful, could be triggered to collapse and release a massive burst of energy. The trick was to lure the Zarnath fleet into these fields. At the right moment, Vian designed a false signal, a fake distress call from one of the outer colonies. The message would make the Zarnath believe humans were vulnerable and ready to surrender. Nala helped coordinate with the colony workers, who volunteered to spread the signal. The plan required perfect timing and trust. When the day came, tension filled the air. The Zarnath fleet responded to the false signal and moved quickly toward the colony. Nala watched the fleet approach from the command center, her heart beating fast. Remember, patience and precision, she reminded the team. As the Zarnath ships entered the unstable orbital field, Vian gave the order, trigger the collapse. A wave of energy exploded from the field, catching the alien fleet by surprise. Ships were damaged, forced to retreat or face destruction. The human forces pressed their advantage, using the confusion to strengthen defenses and cut off supply lines. Morrow turned to Nala, his eyes shining with gratitude. Your plan saved us. Nala shook her head. We all did. This victory belongs to everyone who stood together. The news spread across the colonies. Humans had used not just strength, but cleverness to protect their freedom. In the following days, negotiations reopened, this time with humans holding stronger positions. The Zarnath realized they could not win by force alone. Nala returned home, tired but proud. Kai ran to her with open arms. Mom, you're a hero. She laughed and hugged him tightly. No, Kai, just someone who never gave up. The stars outside her window seemed brighter now. A new hope had been born, one that came from courage, unity, and the power of the human spirit.